Welcome to OahspeCollegeUniversity, solution to yesterday's ancient knowledge. Topic of discussion today is final answer on IFA religion. Few days ago, I did a video about is IFA religion solution to salvation. One of the questions that came up right away is that can we still follow this IFA religion? Even though I explained that IFA religion cannot provide solution to salvation, but the thing is that is it durable? Can we still use it in our current era? Two things to address, and after this I will not be doing video about religion activities, because it's clear that all these religions, if they cannot cure poverty, and they cannot provide industrial jobs to the community, then it's not for our people, it's not for the society, it's not for the state, it's not for the country, and obviously it's not for our planet. Now, in the previous video that I did, I decoded how the Orishas are spirits of the dead. One of the confusion is that if the Orishas are spirits of the dead, what are spirits of the dead? And the thing is that, believe it or not, a lot of people don't understand what is spirits of the dead. Spirits of the dead are people who died in our world and went to heaven. That's simple. Now, the thing is, if the Orishas are spirits of the dead, what are spirits of the dead? You can go to my YouTube video. I've explained this numerous of times. Spirits of the dead are angels. They are spirits who live in heaven. These are angels. Now, so here's the thing. And if these spirits of the dead are in the angels, and the Orisha are now from the Oahspe, we've now been able to identify that these Orishas are actually angels. So if they are angels, what category of angels would they fall under? So I'm going to go to the book of Sapphire, dark of degree of golden chamber, who are familiar spirits. Verse 32, verse 33, our fathers, mother, brothers, sisters, and other relatives and friends who have not been dead long, and other spirits who have not learned of or risen to the heavens above earth's atmosphere. Many of these abide on the earth and with mortals, some for few years, some for 100 years, and some for thousands or more years. You see that? So your Orishas, who are spirits of the dead, are providing solution to our problems. At the same time, right, they are classified as familiar spirits. This is what people see. You see how Orishas decoded saying that they are our fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters, and other relatives and friends who have not been dead long. So these Orishas, at one point, they probably died 200 years ago. When they went to heaven, they become an Orisha. They become an angel, where people worship them or consult with them to provide solution. It is very easy, and I'm not understanding why some people still not getting it. You know, you leave Christianity, now you jump into IFA. You leave Islam, you jump into IFA. You leave Hebrewism, Judaism, Buddhism, now you jump into IFA. IFA is not the solution. The Orishas are familiar spirits. That's just the basic truth. They fall under the category of familiar spirits. I'm going to read it one more time. Book of Sapphire, Mark Hunk, dark of degree of golden chamber. Verse 32, who are familiar spirits. Verse 33, our fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, and other relatives and friends who have not been dead long. Other spirits who have not learned or risen to the heavens above earth's atmosphere. Many of these abide on the earth. You see that? That's your Orisha for you, right? They still abide on this earth with mortals. You see that? Some for few years, some for 100 years. So the fact that you're getting your solution from IFA consultation or from the IFA religion doesn't mean your Orishas are elements of Eledumare, of the Creator. No, they are just simply familiar spirits. Okay, and some for thousands years. You see that? And this is what people are not getting, right? So it is very easy to understand, and the more you keep on explaining it to the society, the more they get confused, and they're getting confused because their spirit is mounted and locked in. Another category, how you classify the Orishas, are their saviors, right? Because think about it, if I come to a Babalawo and consult with a Babalawo that I have this type of health issue, or I have this kind of poverty issue, or I'm looking for a job and I cannot get a job. So when they do a divination, the Orishas, which are spirits of the dead, will come to the Okpele and provide answer that in order for you to get a job, you need to give me oranges, you need to give me banana as sacrifice, or you need to wash your head with soap, right? Spiritual soap. The soap will contain herbs and vegetables that will be mixed together. You have to wash your body. You have to take a shower for 7 days. And during that 7 days, you'll be spiritually cleansed. Okay? So, there are also, Orishas are considered saviors. Now, who are saviors? The book of Safa, Maghunk, Dak, of degree of golden chamber. Verse 38, who are saviors. Verse 39, familiar spirits who have kingdoms in atmosphere. Atmosphere are lower heaven, which by the ancients was called the lower heaven. Saviors are tyrants who make slaves of other spirits who believe in them. Their slaves are sent back to mortals as guardian angels or familiars in order to make captive of mortals after death to augment the Savior's kingdom in atmosphere. So Orishas are also considered saviors, and what they do is, while you engraft yourself into this so-called IFA religion, at the end of the day, when you die, you become slave in their kingdom, because they've provided a solution for you while you're on earth. So you got to give them back. Don't think it's free, And that's another thing about this Christian religion too. They think, when they pray to their God, God answered their prayer. Yeah, God has answered your prayer. The Christian God answered your prayer. But guess what? When you die, he's going to make you a slave in his heaven. Same apply in the Ifa religion. So when these Orishas solve a problem for you, these spirits of the dead, these angels who are considered familiar spirits and saviors, when they solve the problem that you have for you, they are waiting for you when you die. And when you die, you're going to become a slave. Let's read it again. The book of Safa, verse 38, who are saviors. Verse 39, familiar spirits who have kingdoms in atmosphere, which by the ancient was called the lower heaven. Saviors are tyrants who make slaves of their other spirits, who believe in time. Their slaves are sent back to mortals as guardian angels or familiar spirits in order to make captives of mortals after death, to augment the Savior's kingdom in atmosphere. There you have it, brothers and sisters. So Orishas are considered saviors. They're also familiar spirits, and the saviors are also familiar spirits. At one point they died in our world, right? And when they went to heaven, as they rise and they understood the concept of making slaves of souls, they created kingdoms from themselves, and they also provided solutions in order to graft you. So when you die, you might be doing that divination, you might be putting that okpele, you might be having that babalawo provide solution for you, but at the end of the day, they have marked you to be their slave when you die. It's the same thing with Christianity. Once you die, you become their slave in heaven. You're going to provide work. And I did tons of videos explaining how these gods of Christianity, God of Islam, God of Buddha, God of Hinduism, now including the God of Ifa. The Ifa God is the same thing, the same concept. When you read Oahspe, you begin to now understand. You can place things. So Oahspe is a perfect GPS matrix. that you can use to solve current religion problem, current a government problem, to understand what nature or what condition we're faced in. Just by looking at it, you could clearly know. Now, the phase two that is going to happen is that people are going to come back and say that these Orishas, had, they're not, they don't live in heaven. They live in a star. They live in a different planet. They're, you know, and Orapsi clears this up, right? So since we now know that Orishas are angels, that means they're also angels of heaven. But if they're angels of heaven, where did these angels of heaven come from? Because you've had a lot of IFA people, they're trying, you've had, so it is a division of two things. We've had majority of them saying, oh, these are elements of the creator. These are part of the creator, right? So in the book of Safa, Mangahan, Dak of degree of golden chamber, verse 24, who are the angels of heaven? Verse 25, people who once lived on earth or other corporeal worlds. You see that? So your Orishas, though they're angels of heaven, they once lived on earth, right? Now, the other thing that's going to come up is, oh well, but my Orisha is a god, right? But God is a title. So yeah, you have the god of thunder, you have the god of sea, you have the god of war, right? So all these gods, the god of agriculture, right? The god of sickness. All these Orishas you are classified to be God, because what's going to happen is you're going to say, well, my Orisha is not an angel. My Orisha is not the spirit of the dead, but my Orisha is a God. Yeah, here you go. Let's go to the book of Discipline, chapter 1 and verse 2 and 20. This is God speaking now, right? Hear the words of your God, oh man. I am your brother. You see that? Risen from mortality to holy place in heaven, profit in my wisdom and be admonished by my love. So here's a God who is saying, I am your brother, risen from mortality. Verse 20. Therefore, listen to this. Therefore, I am like any other spirit of the dead. You see that? Here is God. So if your Orisha is a God, right? Because you guys call the Orishas a god, right? So the God. Verse 20 is saying, therefore, I am like any other spirit of the dead, a one-time man upon the earth, even as you are in this day, but one with the organic heavens of the earth. You see that? Book of Discipline, chapter 1, verse 2 and 20, actually close up this argument that will come up in the future, that even though if you say your Orisha is not a spirit, and then if you're gonna say your Orisha is not an angel but your Orisha is a god, the book of Discipline chapter 1 verse 2 and 20 clearly says it. So even God is saying that he is a brother and risen from mortality, which means he once died in on earth or a corporeal world similar to planet Earth, right? Verse 20, therefore, I'm like any other spirit of the dead. So your Orisha is a spirit of the dead. And if your Orisha is a god, it was once human. And another perfect example to actually, put this in the coffin and bury this, that the Orishas, regardless of how you want to say it, if you don't accept it's a spirit, if you don't accept they are one-time new humans on earth, well, let's go to the book of Apollo, right? The book of Apollo, chapter 1, verse 2. Yes, Apollo now, once a muter, once a martyr, proclaim forth wisdom, peace, and patience to all men, and comprehensive judgment concerning that which I seek. Second, to perceive the reason of things as to which seems to have been and what to come after. See, yes, Apollo, who happened to be a god in the Ethereal world, right? Once rulers. He's actually saying he was once martyr, right? Book of Apollo chapter 2 verse 1. I, Apollo, earthborn of the continent of Pan, submerged by Hap, the Orion chief by Jehovah's command, proclaim the name of the Father, Creator, words, peace and wisdom to all nations and tribes of men, force against all vanity and self-conceit in the souls of men. For every circle man asserts himself wise, great, and learned, and the ancient fools. You see that? So Apollo was once human, and then when Apollo died, he became an angel. After angel, he now rise to become an Ethereal god, right? Or however you want to put it, he become an Ethereal god. You know, he's a god. He's a ruler. He once ruled. The point I'm making about this is proven. This is proof, evidence showing that the Orisha, whether you call it the spirit of the dead, whether you want to call it an angel, whether you want to call them gods, they were once human. And when they rose in heaven, they took the mantle of Orisha, which I'm classifying them as familiar spirits, saviors. But that Orisha, that word Orisha, is angel, simple, right? But some people might come back, because I know there are going to be a lot of IFA practitioners, IFA followers, IFA initiates is going to come and say, well, my Orisha is not from heaven. My Orisha comes from another star. Okay, let's go to the book of Leor. The book of Leor chapter 1 verse 9. Leor had sprung from the corporeal star Athos. You see that? Leor once ruled our world as a Nivanian chief, and he's proclaiming here that he came from a corporeal star which traversed the road of Yatokozowen of the south secondary of Toeses, the vortex of another far-off sun, was raised to Etheria. You see that? In the cycle of Sakai, 125,000 years by Mitia, goddess of Oriyi, afterward chieftainess of Yana Gamaya. You see that? So let's draw back for a moment. The Orishas have now been identified to be the spirits of the dead. Now, and these spirits of the dead have now been also identified as angels, right? And we have angels who took the mantle of God, which me and you in the future are going to sit in the position of God, right? And if your argument is, well, my Orisha don't come from this world, never died in this world at one point. Well, but yes, Leor, who died in a different corporeal star, right? Because our planet is also a star, right? So Orishas give you a perfect example that Leor, who once ruled our world as a Nivanian chief, right, came from a different star and was made a Nivanian chief to rule our planet. You see that? So Orishas is a decoder. So, brothers and sisters, for those of you who are jumping from Hebrewism to IFA, you're jumping from Islam to IFA, and you're jumping from Buddhism to IFA, you're jumping from Christianity to IFA, you're from Kemetic to IFA, because this religion has not worked for you and you think IFA is a solution. Orishas is just by using Orishas, I was able to decode and show clearly without sugarcoating that even IFA religion falls under the same category, right? So your Orishas are spirits of the dead. Simple. It doesn't take you don't need a soothsayer to provide this answer to you, right? So there you go. Light and peace, brothers and sisters. Bye bye now.